नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायस्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 23 and 24. So I'm just reading the 23rd one now. Iti ghora tamad bhavat sannivritta swayam prabhu aste pratiksham stajjanma Harer Vairānubandhakrit. Shukdev Goswami said, deliberating in this way, Kamsa, although determined to continue in enmity toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, restrained from the vicious killing of his sister. He decided to wait until the Lord was born and then do what was needed. Text 24. Asina samvi samstishthan bhunjana paryatan mahim chintayano rishikesham apashyatanmayam jagat. Asinaha, while sitting comfortably in his sitting room or on the throne, samvishan, or lying on his bed, tishthan, or staying anywhere, bhunjanaha, while eating, paryatan, while walking or moving, mahim, on the ground, going hither and thither, chintayanaha, always inimically thinking of, Rishikesham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of everything, apashyat, observed, tatmayam, consisting of him, Krishna, and nothing more, Jagat, the entire world. While sitting on his throne or in his sitting room, while lying on his bed, or indeed while situated anywhere, and while eating, sleeping, or walking, Kamsa saw only his enemy, the Supreme Lord Rishikesha. In other words, by thinking of his all-pervading enemy, Kamsa became unfavorably Krishna conscious. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Rupa Goswami has described the finest pattern of devotional service as Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam, or cultivating Krishna consciousness favorably. Kamsa, of course, was also Krishna conscious, but because he regarded Krishna as his enemy, even though he was fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, his Krishna consciousness was not favorable for his existence. Krishna consciousness, favorably cultivated, makes one completely happy, so much so that a Krishna conscious person does not consider Kaivalya Sukham, or merging into the existence of Krishna, to be a great gain. Kaivalyam Narkayate, for a Krishna conscious person, even merging into the existence of Krishna or Brahman, as impersonalists aspire to do so, is uncomfortable. Kaivalyam Narkayate Tridasha Pur Akasha Pushpayate. Karmis hanker to be promoted to the heavenly planets, but a Krishna conscious person considers such promotion a will of the wisp. good for nothing. Durdantendriya kala sarpapatali protkhat damstrayate. Yogis try to control their senses and thus become happy, but a Krishna conscious person neglects the methods of yoga. He is unconcerned with the greatest of enemies, the senses, which are compared to snakes. For a Krishna conscious person who is cultivating Krishna consciousness favorably, the happiness conceived by the karmis, jnanis and yogis is treated as less than a fig. Kamsa, however, because of cultivating Krishna consciousness in a different way, that is, inimically, was uncomfortable in all the affairs of his life. Whether sitting, sleeping, walking or eating, he was always in danger. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. A non-devotee or atheist also cultivates God consciousness by trying to avoid God in everything. For example, so-called scientists who want to create life by a combination of chemicals regard the external material elements as supreme. Such scientists do not like the idea that life is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. As clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivansha jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana. The living entities do not arise from a combination of material elements such as earth, water, air and fire, but are separated portions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one can understand the position of the living entity as a separated portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by studying the nature of the living entity, one can understand the nature of the Supreme Godhead, since the living entity is a fragmental sample of the Godhead. But because atheists are not interested in God consciousness, they try to be happy by cultivating Krishna consciousness in various unfavorable ways. Although Kamsa was always absorbed in thoughts of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was not happy. A devotee, however, whether sitting on a throne or beneath a tree, is always happy. Shri Rupa Goswami resigned from the office as a government officer, minister, to sit beneath a tree, yet he was happy. Tyaktva turnamasesha mandalapatim shreni sadatu chava. Sadgosami Ashtakam 4. He did not care for his comfortable position as minister. He was happy even beneath a tree in Vrindavan, favorably serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. For a non-devotee, the world is full of problems, whereas for a devotee, the entire world is full of happiness. Vishwam purna sukhayate vidhi mahendradis chakitayate yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam gauram eva stumaha. Chaitanya Chandamrita 95. This comfortable position of a devotee can be established by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yasmin sthitona dukhena gurunapi vichalyate. Bhagavad Gita 6:22. Even when a devotee is superficially put into great difficulty, he is never disturbed. Om ajnanativinandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So I welcome everyone for the morning Swagatam class. Thank you all for coming. Especially grateful to Dharmatma Prabhu for giving this opportunity. So such a beautiful section of Bhagavatam is going on now, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what a great fortune we are hearing from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in Vrindavan Dham in the month of Kartik. And as we know that this particular part of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto part 1, so it contains the last purports written by Srila Prabhupada. He translated only, he wrote purports till 13th chapter of 10th canto, which is there in part 1. And after that, his disciples continued. So this particular part of Srimad Bhagavatam is very special for all of us. The purports by Srila Prabhupada are very, very beautiful. So although each and every purport of Srila Prabhupada is beautiful, but somehow I have noticed that first canto of Bhagavatam and 10th canto part 1, these two have very, very special purports by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote this in 1977. If you go to Bhubaneswar ISKCON temple, earlier there was Prabhupada Bhajan Kutir there, where he stayed in a hut. And there was a name plaque written there that January 1977, Srila Prabhupada started translating the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So in his last year of his pastimes on this earthly planet, he wrote this purports and translations to this first 13 chapters of 10th canto. So today Srila Prabhupada very beautifully explains in the purport. So the shloka is like this. So Shukdev Goswami, so he said that Kamsa, so although he wanted to kill Devaki, because he could realize that when Krishna first appeared in the heart of Vasudeva, then transferred to the heart of Devaki, and when Devaki was carrying the Supreme Lord, she became Dhama. Srila Prabhupada explains that Dhama means a place which carries the Lord, just like we have Vrindavan Dham. Similarly, a devotee is also Dham when he carries the Lord. So Devaki became Dham. She was carrying the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And so much effulgence was coming out of her body, and Kansa could understand that my enemy Vishnu has now entered Devaki's womb. And he wanted to kill Devaki. But then he thought that, she is woman, she is pregnant, and as per the scripture, especially women should never be killed, and what to speak of a woman who is pregnant. So therefore he refrained from killing his sister and decided to wait until the Lord was born. And he thought, once the child is born, then I'll try to kill the child. And this 24th verse, it is mentioned that how Kansa was always thinking about Krishna. While sitting, while walking, while lying, all the time thinking of Krishna. Right? This is the aim of life. What we say, always think of Krishna and never forget him. And Kansa was actually doing that. Whether he was eating, he was thinking of Krishna. He was seeing Krishna on his plate. He was looking at a mirror, he was seeing Krishna. Everywhere he was saying Krishna, Krishna and Krishna. So one can say, wow, Kansa is a great devotee. He was always thinking of Krishna. So let us all follow in the footsteps of Kamsa. Is it a good advice? So that is why the purport is so important. If one simply reads the translation, one may think it's so nice. I can also think of Krishna in enmity. And actually in 7th canto of Bhagavatam also, a similar pastime, a similar thing is explained, where Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking about Shishupal. That how Shishupal, although he was so envious of Krishna, right from his childhood, when he was born, when he was not even able to speak properly, he was blaspheming Krishna. So how he could get liberation. And Narad Muni answers to the question of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he tells that because they were always thinking of Krishna, and there's a beautiful verse in 7th canto, 7:127. यथा वैरानुबंधेन मर्त्यस्तन मयताम यात न तथा भक्ति योगेन इति में निश्चितामति. Narad Muni continued, by devotional service one cannot achieve such intense absorption in the thought of Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity towards Him. That is my opinion. So Narad Muni is saying that in the feeling of enmity, the absorption that one can have in Krishna is not possible for a devotee. So that means again Narad Muni is advising that we should develop this mood of Kamsa and Shishupal. Is it like that? No. Once again, so Srila Prabhupada in the purport he clarifies very beautifully. And the same thing that is clarifying today in the purport, he is saying that what is the fallacy here? Yes, Kamsa was thinking of Krishna all the time. Shishupal was thinking of Krishna all the time, 24 hours a day. But thinking in a unfavorable way. They were thinking of Krishna as their enemy. But bhakti means thinking of Krishna in a favorable way. So that is the essence today's purport Srila Prabhupada is trying to focus upon, that bhakti means anukulyena krishnanushilanam. We know these famous words by Rupa Goswami, anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. So what is Uttama Bhakti? Thinking of Krishna in a favorable way. Anukulyena. Anukul means favorable. That means with the desire to please Krishna, with the desire to serve Krishna, when you think of Krishna, that is called Krishna consciousness. That is devotional service. So just merely thinking of Krishna is not enough. You have to think of Krishna in a favorable way. And that is devotional service. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Radha Shyam Sundar ki jai. So this is a very, very important point, that one must think of Krishna in a favorable way, right? And Srila Prabhupada, he quotes a very beautiful verse in this purport, which is written by Prabodhananda Saraswati. You must have heard, he was a very great devotee. He was the uncle of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, brother of Venkata Bhatta. He also came to Vrindavan. In fact, his samadhi is there near Kalia Daha Ghat. Have you seen, any one of you, where the tree is there? The Kadamba tree from which Krishna jumped on Kalia. Just behind that, there is a samadhi of Prabodhananda Saraswati. So next time if you happen to go there, we can go there and pay obeisances. So Prabodhananda Saraswati was a very great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, great Acharya. And especially he has written a very nice book called Vrindavan Mahimamrit. You must have heard some quotes from there, which talks about the glory of staying in Vrindavan, the glory of Vrindavan Dham. And he also wrote Chaitanya Chandamrita. And Srila Prabhupada often quoted a few verses from that. Especially he quoted this verse many, many times. If you see Srila Prabhupada books, this particular verse, Kaivalyam Narkayate Tridashapur Akasha Pushpayate. That means for a devotee merging into Brahman, that mukti is worse than hell. That means a devotee never ever desires the liberation of merging into the effulgence of Krishna or merging into the body of Krishna. That is worse than going to hell for a devotee. Why? Because a devotee loses the opportunity to serve Krishna. And a devotee is never willing to give that service, give up the service to Krishna. That is his life and soul. So that is hellish for a devotee. And what about going to heavenly planets? Because in Karma Kanda, everyone hankers to go to heavenly planets, where you can have a long life, no diseases, no COVID, no problem. We can have nice intoxicants and nice apsaras, women, nice gardens. So the karmis, they want to go there. But a devotee who has taken shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, does he want to go there? No. For him, the heavenly planets are like will-o'-the-wisp. That means something which is a fantasy, which is imagination. Srila Prabhupada also used the word flower in the sky. So is there flower in the sky? No. Right? Or in Bengali, Srila Prabhupada often used ghoda dimba. So I think dimba means egg and ghoda means horse. So egg of a horse. So does it exist? Does horse lay eggs? No. Horse is a mammal, right? It gives birth to another child. So going to heavenly planet for a devotee is like ghoda dimba. It's like egg of a horse. Or it's like flower in the sky. Because he knows that this is artificial. This is temporary. This is not the goal of my life. This is not what I am meant for. So devotee is never attracted to so-called heavenly pleasures. And third line of this shloka is Durdantendriya kala sarpa patali prokhat damstrayate. So devotee is never afraid of his senses. Why? Senses are very, very dangerous, like serpents. They can bite any time. We have seen great yogis and rishis, starting from Vishwamitra, Durvasha Muni, Saubhari Muni, who was doing tapasya underwater, and also Durvasha Muni. He also became angry on Amrish Maharaj. So all these great rishis, Durvasha Muni, who was doing tapasya inside Yamuna for thousands of years. And what happened? He got agitated just by looking at two fishes mating inside water. So just imagine how powerful or how dangerous are the senses. It can bite us anytime, just like serpent. You can never trust a serpent. If it's there, it can always come and bite you. Just like serpents can bite us, the senses can always bite us. They're always biting us actually. Constantly we are bitten by our poisonous senses. But for a devotee who has taken shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for him, the senses are not dangerous because they are like snakes without the teeth of poison. We have seen sometimes people, they carry snakes in India. Have you seen? In a small basket, they carry snake and they ask for some donation. So why that snake is not dangerous? Because they have removed the poisonous fang from that snake. They have removed that poison teeth from the snake. So even if that snake bites, it will never have any fatal effect. It's not dangerous. Similarly, for a devotee, the senses may sometimes give us trouble, but senses can never kill us. In the sense, the senses can never stop our devotional service. That's the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The senses are like snakes, but without fangs. And the last line is Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. For such a devotee, Vishwa Purna Sukhayate. Vishwa, the world, is a very happy place. Vidhi Mahindradisha Kitayate Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaivavatam Tam Gauram Eva Stumaha. So this again looks a little contradictory. We always hear the world is full of suffering, Dukhalayam Asashvatam. But for a devotee who has actually taken shelter of Mahaprabhu, the entire world is full of happiness. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Why? Because he is fully absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. Even when he is put superficially into great difficulties, never disturbed. This comfortable position of a devotee can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just see. The same world which is such a difficult place, such a miserable place, we all are experiencing it now practically because of this COVID problem. But still, for a devotee who has actually taken shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for him this world is Purna Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Because he is completely absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna in a favorable way. So here what we are seeing, Kamsa, he was always thinking of Krishna in unfavorable way, like an enemy. But a devotee always think of Krishna in a favorable way. How can I serve Krishna? All the time he is meditating on that. Srila Prabhupada gives nice examples of devotees who are completely absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Examples of devotees in Vrindavan, he talks about Mother Yashoda. She was always thinking of Krishna. She was worried that my son, he may become weak, he is not eating food properly. She was worried that he may end up in some trouble, monkeys may bite him, or my child. So she was always worried about the welfare of Krishna. She was always thinking of Krishna. How can I make nice butter for my son? The whole Damodar pastime, because Mother Yashoda started herself churning butter. She thought my son is going here and there to steal, so let me churn butter myself. So she was always absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna, but in a favorable way, not like Kamsa. Otherwise one may think, oh, Kansa is also devotee, Yashoda is also devotee. Kansa was always thinking of Krishna, and Mother Yashoda was all thinking of Krishna. What's the difference? There's a great difference. Kansa was thinking to kill Krishna, but Mother Yashoda was thinking to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says even modern scientists, they also want to kill God. They're always thinking of God, but in an inimical way. They want to prove that God doesn't exist. So they're also thinking of God indirectly, but that is not favorable way. So we must learn from these great devotees how to think of Krishna in a favorable way. They are of course the highest example. We can't imitate them, but still we can at least hear about them. Mother Yashoda. Similarly the gopis. When Krishna used to go to the forest to herd cows, so what was the meditation of the gopis? That Krishna's lotus feet is so soft, and how is he walking on the thorny, in the thorny places in the forest? His lotus feet may be pricked by thorns or stones. Right? So that is the absorption of the gopis. Now in Kartik month, if you are reading Gopi Geet, you will find that verse in Gopi Geet, that how the gopis are thinking that, oh Krishna, your lotus feet is so soft, we are worried that it may be pricked by thorns. Yatte sujata charanam buruham staneshu bhita sanei dadimahi priyakarkaseshu tenat vimatasi. That verse we read. So these are the highest examples of devotees who always think of Krishna in a favorable way. So the point is that thinking of Krishna is so powerful that even if one thinks in an unfavorable way, still he gets benefit. But a devotee never thinks of Krishna in unfavorable way. He always thinks of Krishna in a favorable way. Anukulyena Krishnanu. How can I please Krishna? In that favorable mood, he thinks of Krishna. But it's difficult, right? We all experience that thinking of Krishna. Is it easy or difficult? Right? It's difficult sometimes. Actually, Srila Prabhupada sometimes he says, thinking of Krishna is so easy. When you drink water, we can think, Rasam apsu konteya. It's so easy. Srila Prabhupada says, what is the difficulty? We can always think of Krishna. But practically, we see that, especially I am seeing that, it's so difficult to remember Krishna. Even while chanting, it's so difficult. The mind always goes here and there. Even while hearing, the mind goes here and there. What's the solution? The solution is, we have to simply keep trying. We cannot give up. We have to keep trying. We have to keep trying to absorb our mind in thoughts of Krishna. And how do we do that? There are 4 ways. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. By thinking of Krishna's names, by chanting Krishna's names attentively, by hearing Krishna's wonderful pastimes, by thinking of his beautiful form. We are so fortunate to have beautiful darshan of Shri Gaur Nitai, Krishna Balaram, Radha Shyam Sundar. We can think of the form of the wonderful lordships here. So Nam, Rupa, Guna, wonderful qualities of Krishna and wonderful pastimes of Krishna. So these are the ways by which we remember Krishna. And also Srila Prabhupada says, by thinking of how to serve Krishna, we have different services. So when you think how to distribute books or how to do management nicely or whatever services we are doing, so thinking of that is also thinking of Krishna. So these are the ways by which we can think of Krishna. It's not easy. is difficult. But we have to keep trying. Like we see in the pastime of Damodar pastime, the Mother Yashoda, she didn't give up. She first tied one rope, then 2 ropes, 3 ropes, hundreds of ropes, thousands of ropes. Still she did not give up. She kept on trying, kept on trying. Just recently I heard in one of the lectures that actually Mother Yashoda started this endeavor to bind Krishna from morning, and finally she could bind Krishna by evening. So whole day she tried so hard. She didn't give up. She kept on trying, kept on trying. So this is a great inspiration that we should take from this pastime, that we should keep putting our endeavor to remember Krishna. Doesn't matter, we are not successful, doesn't matter. But we should keep on trying and trying and trying. And one day by Krishna's mercy, we can also be absorbed fully in Krishna. Even to remember Krishna, we need Krishna's mercy. It's not easy to remember Krishna all the time. So difficult. Unless we have love for Krishna, how can we remember Krishna all the time? Why the gopis or why Mother Yashoda is always thinking of Krishna? Because they have love for Krishna. Even in this world, when we see somebody has intense love for someone, so naturally he thinks about that person. Right? So we don't have that. So how do we remember Krishna then? So this process of Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti, we keep trying. So in the beginning we may not have spontaneous attraction for Krishna, doesn't matter. But we keep trying, keep chanting our rounds, keep hearing about Krishna. In Nectar of Instruction, in the 8th verse, this very important verse, Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smritya Kamena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Tishthan Vrajetat Anuragi Jananu Kami. So that in that verse, in the purport Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Those who are doing Bhakti Shastri must be reading that now, right? So in the 8th verse, if you see, in the purport Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he says there are different stages. So first stage is Shravan Dasha. So in the first stage, we simply hear about Krishna. We keep on hearing about Krishna, keep on chanting Krishna's names. And as we keep on doing that, Shravan Dasha, then we'll come to second stage, which is Varana Dasha. We accept, stage of acceptance, where we develop some taste for chanting and we accept that yes, Krishna is my Lord. That is Varana Dasha. And then comes Samadhi, when we can be absorbed, Smarana Avastha. So Smarana, remembrance doesn't come directly. Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, then Smaran Dasha, and then Sampatti Dasha, in which we actually realize our constitutional position, our Swarupa. It's a very, very high stage. So in the beginning is Shravan Dasha. So we have to absorb ourselves, just fill our mind as much as possible by Krishna's holy names, by his pastimes, by his form, by Krishna Katha. So as much as possible, let us absorb our mind in chanting Krishna's names, in hearing about Krishna, in reading Srila Prabhupada books, just as much as possible. Prabhupada gives a simple example that if you have a glass full of some dirty substance, and if you pour, let's say, clean water, so if you keep on pouring, the dirt will gradually go away. Similarly, the mind is full of dirt. In other yogic process or the Buddhist, they want to empty the mind of all the dirt artificially. They want to make the mind thoughtless, create a vacuum in the mind. But that is not possible, and that is extremely difficult. But in Krishna consciousness, we have such a wonderful process. We just fill our mind with positive thoughts related to Krishna. His names, his forms, his pastimes, his service. And by that, gradually, all the dirty things from the mind disappears. Cheto Darpana Marjana. Such a wonderful process we have got. So all we have to do is just follow this process of Krishna consciousness seriously, sincerely, under proper guidance. And if we keep on doing that, then gradually we'll also come to the stage of remembrance of Krishna in a favorable way. I'll just read a small pastime from Chaitanya Bhagavat before ending. In Mahaprakash Leela, the different devotees, they offer beautiful prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu gives various benedictions to them. So Haridas Thakur, when he comes to meet Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya first glorifies Haridas. He says, Haridas, you remember then that when you were being beaten in 22 marketplaces, my heart was breaking. I descended from Vaikuntha with disc in my hand, with Sudarshan. I wanted to kill these rascals who were beating you. But you prayed for them. So Haridas Thakur prayed to the Lord to forgive those people who are beating him in 22 marketplaces. So then Mahaprabhu said that because you desired their benefit, so I was unable to use my power against them. Just see the power of a devotee's prayer, So Haridas Thakur was praying for their benefit, and so even Lord could not kill them. So then Mahaprabhu said what he did? I covered your body with my own body. Just see the love that Mahaprabhu has for these wonderful devotees like Haridas Thakur. He's saying that he covered Haridas Thakur's body with his own body. And actually Mahaprabhu showed the marks in his body. He said, look, here are the marks. So when the Yavanas were beating you, actually I took all the beatings on myself. And Haridas Thakur became unconscious and he fell to the ground. And then Mahaprabhu said, get up Haridas, get up. Haridas rolled about the entire courtyard. One moment he breathed heavily, and the next moment he lost consciousness. Haridas was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Although Lord Chaitanya tried to pacify him, he could not remain calm. My dear Vishwambhar, O Lord of the universe, please be merciful to this sinful person. I fall at your feet. I have no good qualities. I am a fallen outcast. How can I possibly describe your glories? If one sees me, he becomes sinful. If one touches me, he should take bath. How then can I glorify your topics? You have personally declared that you will never forsake anyone who remembers your lotus feet, even if he is as insignificant as an insect. But you forsake the greatest kings if they do not remember your lotus feet. Beautiful verse. Kita tulya hai yadi tare nahi chhada ihate anyata hoite narendrera pada. एक सत्य करिया छे आपना वदने ये जन तुम्हारे करे चरण स्मरणे. So he's saying that anyone who remembers your lotus feet, even if he's an insect, you don't give him up. But if someone is a great king, but if he doesn't remember your lotus feet, you don't care for him. But Haridas Thakur, just look at the humility of Haridas Thakur. He was chanting 3 lakh names a day. But what he is saying, that my problem is that I cannot remember you. So Haridas Thakur is praying to the Lord that, oh Lord, my problem is that I am not able to remember you. He gives various examples. First he gives the example of Draupadi. That how when Draupadi was in danger, when Dusashan and Duryodhan wanted to disrobe her in the royal assembly, she remembered you. And as a result of her remembrance, you saved her. He gives second example. Once Parvati was surrounded by witches and she remembered you and you protected her. He gives a third example of Prahlad Maharaj. He says how Prahlad Maharaj was tormented in so many ways. He was given poison, he was thrown into pit of snakes, into fire, etc. But Prahlad Maharaj simply remembered you and he was delivered from all calamities by the influence of that remembrance. So first example he gave of Draupadi, second example of Mother Parvati, third example of Prahlad Maharaj, and the fourth example he gave, can anyone guess? Fourth example of a devotee remembered Krishna and was saved from a great calamity. Ajamil, thank you. Good guess. So fourth example is Ajamil. He says that Ajamil, at the time of death, Yamdutas came to capture him, but simply because he called out your name, By that remembrance, all his sinful activities are vanquished. Therefore, remembrance of you is the wealth of your devotees. Tena chitra nahe bhakta smarana sampad. So what is the wealth of a devotee? Remembrance of Krishna. That's the greatest wealth of a devotee is remembrance of Krishna. And then Haridas Thakur in his great humility is saying, Hena tara charana smarana hina mui tathapiha prabhu more na chadiba tumi. I am fully devoid of the remembrance of your lotus feet. Yet nevertheless, O Lord, do not forsake me. So this is the prayer of Haridas Thakur. O Lord, even though I am not able to remember you, but still, my Lord, don't forsake me. What is that song? The last line of the song, Hari Hari, Bifala Janama Gonainu, Ha ha Prabhu Nanda Suta, Vrishabhanu Suta Juta, Karuna Karoi Bar. Narottama Dasa kahe, Natheliya Ranga pae, Toma bina ke ache amar. Natheliya Ranga pae. Please don't push me away from your lotus feet. Please keep me at your lotus feet. So this is the prayer of Haridas Thakur, that I am not able to remember you, but still I am praying to you that please keep me at your lotus feet. And then the Lord said, please ask me something. Ask me for a benediction. And what benediction Haridas Thakur asked the Lord? Let us hear that. So Haridas Thakur said, may the remnants of the servants who worship your lotus feet be my footsteps. So he's asking for the remnants of the devotees of the Lord. That is the benediction that Namacharya Haridas Thakur is asking from Lord Chaitanya, Gauranga Mahaprabhu during Mahaprakash Leela. Let this be my devotional service birth after birth. Let honoring these remnants be my only occupation and religious duty. My life is sinful because I am devoid of remembrance of you. Please make my life successful by allowing me to eat the remnants of your servants. So this is a benediction asked by Haridas Thakur. But then Haridas Thakur said, oh my Lord, I am not qualified for that also. Please forgive me. What am I asking? I am asking for remnants of your devotees. I have no qualification for that. O son of Sachi, O dear Lord, please be merciful to me. Kindly keep me in the house of a devotee as a dog. Haridas Thakur became filled with love and devotion for the Lord. Although he repeatedly petitioned the Lord with humility, his desires remained unsatiated. So he felt that he is unqualified to even take remnants of devotees, and he prayed to the Lord that make me a dog in the house of a devotee so that I can take the remnants. The Lord said, listen my dear Haridas, anyone who resides with you for even a day or speaks with you for even a moment will certainly achieve me. There is no doubt about it. One who respects you, respects me, for I constantly reside within your body. My glories are increased by a servant like you. You have eternally bound me within your heart. You have not committed any offense to me or to any Vaishnav. Therefore, I am awarding you devotional service. So Mahaprabhu is saying, because you have not committed any offense towards me or my devotees, therefore I am awarding you devotional service. So this is the only qualification that we should earn. We should long for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. We should beg for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and avoid two things: offenses towards the Lord and offenses towards devotees. If you offend devotees, then we'll never get mercy of the Lord. As the Lord awarded the benediction on Haridas, a tumultuous sound of Jai, Jai rose. Jai Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Jati kula kriya dhane kichu nahi kare, prema dhana arti vina nai pai Krishna re. Good birth, noble family, past activities and material wealth cannot award one the treasure of love of God. Only by intense desire one can achieve Krishna. Tatra laulyam api eka mulyam. So such a beautiful pastime I just read from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Very, very beautiful pastime, that how Haridas Thakur is praying to the Lord, to Mahaprabhu, and he is saying that I cannot remember you. What is our position? Right? And he is saying that I am not able to remember you, but please be merciful to me. Please give me remnants of your Vaishnavas. So especially my position is absolutely fallen, not able to remember Krishna at all. Even while chanting, it's so difficult to remember Krishna. But if you just continue with this process, praying for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, praying for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Vaishnavas, then one day by their mercy we can also remember Krishna. Kathanchana smite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismritya vipritisyam sti chaitanya namamitu. By remembering the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, difficult things become easy. And by forgetting, easy things also become difficult. So really controlling the mind, controlling the senses is the most difficult thing. But if we can have mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, then definitely we can remember Krishna. So thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
But I am doubting that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a transcendental. His body is transcendental. How he can get the marks?
Yes, a very good question. That Haridas Thakur in that pastime, Mahaprabhu actually showed the marks on his body. But Krishna is transcendental. So the reason he showed is he wanted to prove, just for all of us actually, to actually practically say that I am not speaking something in a false way. Actually I covered your body and actually I got marks. So Lord is actually showing his Bhakti Vatsalya, that how much he cares for his devotees, how much love he has for his devotees, that he himself is taking marks on his body. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yogakshema vahamyaham. You know that famous verse, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahamyam. So it's a great devotee, Arjunacharya. Srila Prabhupada tells this story that he was writing this verse and he got a doubt that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, why he has to carry? Yogakshema vahamyam, he has to carry and bring? He said, no, there's some problem with this verse. So what happened? Krishna and Balram personally came to his home when he was not there, and they carried great load of foodstuffs and left at their home. And told his wife that, see, your husband he has sent us and he has beaten us. So when Arjunacharya came back, he understood, oh, Krishna himself brought, he carried. Because I was doubting this line of Bhagavad Gita, Yogakshema vahamyam. So Krishna personally carried and brought for me. So this is, Krishna takes great pleasure. Otherwise, why Krishna has to become charioteer of Arjuna? You think it was easy? In the battlefield, driving the chariot, so much dust and such a great anxiety, and it was not a very nice job what Krishna did. But Krishna took great pleasure in becoming charioteer for his devotee. So Krishna gets happiness by doing that, by covering the body of Haridas Thakur and by getting beating on himself. That is the great love of Krishna for his devotees. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so thank you very much. ग्रंथा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.